the CEO of the Institute. Bill Diamond joins us now. And Bill, we are so sorry for your loss. You were friends with Shazada. What can you tell us about him?
Hi, Kelly. Well, thank you for having this conversation and giving your audience a chance to know the passengers. Shahzada was a passionate, passionately curious individual, not, frankly, a daredevil or a risk taker by any stretch. He was a businessman. He worked hard at running part of his family's wide business interests. And he was a very humble, I would say, and kind and thoughtful individual. I think a loving father, and I'm sure that he was so excited about the opportunity to bring Suleman on this adventure with him. He told me personally about this upcoming opportunity when we had our board meeting in April, just a couple of months ago, and he was at the Institute in Mountain View, California, where we're headquartered, and telling me with the excitement of a young child, frankly, about this opportunity and this excursion. And of course, we were very, very happy for him that he was having this opportunity. He was completely fascinated by all things scientific, involving exploration, involving answering the big unknown questions, and of course, just as we study life beyond Earth and what is out there. I mean, our oceans remain a frontier on our own planet, and he had a deep fascination for all of these subjects.
Oh, it's heartbreaking when you put it in that context. How much did you know about the bond over science and exploring this father and son duo had?
Well, only what he shared with me. I honestly, I'm afraid to say I never had the opportunity to meet Suleman. Even when I would meet Shazada in London, we'd be out somewhere. But he talked about him often, and he was a proud father, and of course has a loving wife and daughter as well, and a dog and a cat. And he spoke about all of them warmly. But I know that in particular, he was excited about sharing his interest in the Titanic as a story, as its own tragic history, and with his son, and also interested in sharing his interest and passion for science broadly with his son. His family was very much involved in science education, STEM, science literacy, building a museum, a science museum in Pakistan, their home country. So this was something near and dear to his heart, and I think the father and son bond was truly being exercised as part of this expedition.
And he will leave a legacy. Have you had any contact with his family?
Only indirectly through another one of our board members who's a longtime family friend and associate, Rima Khan. And she, in fact, shared with me the news that came directly from Shahzada's mother. So I saw her text message to Rima talking about the fact that the contact had been lost with the submersible. And I can say, having read her message, how stoic and brave and sort of pragmatic she was at that time. We've, of course, reached out on behalf of all of us at the Institute to the family, but I haven't spoken with his mother or wife yet at this time.
Oh, they are certainly in our prayers. What do you want the world to know about your friend and colleague?
Certainly about his humility, about his humble nature, about his keen intellect, and about his curiosity. And again, I think I'd want to stress that it was his curiosity and his passion about science and about exploration that drove him to undertake this expedition. And it wasn't about anything along the lines of being a daredevil or taking risks for the sake of that. This was something much deeper and more meaningful to him than that, and I'm sure that's what he would want to be remembered by. And also his great philanthropy and support for science. He was an active member of the board of trustees, giving of his own funds for education programs, research programs, public outreach and engagement programs, scholarship funds, and so forth. So he was a thoroughly engaged trustee, completely, immersed in the work of the Institute and our mission. And I think he'd like to be remembered in that way as well.
Oh, that is a wonderful legacy. And Bill, would you like to see these dives continue? Obviously, this is a tragedy, but there is a lot to be gleaned from these missions.
I think, it's inevitable that these dives will continue. This kind of thing will continue. I do think, however, there needs to be some oversight. We really can't afford, I don't think, to have entrepreneurs, just go about these kind of endeavors, and particularly taking other people on board and putting other lives at risk in dangerous environments without, the sort of oversight that we have for things like driver safety and airlines and airplanes and boats and ships in general. I mean, there's all kinds of safety regulations around even the most humble sort of surface craft, and I think the same is going to have to be true here. I think there needs to be an investigation as to what happened, how it happened, and why. What corners may have been cut, what safety issues may have been ignored, or concerns may have been ignored, what testing wasn't done. And clearly these things will continue. People will, entrepreneurs and people with the funds to do this sort of thing will continue to build rockets, submersibles, things of this nature. But I think there needs to be some care and oversight about this kind of activity if they're going to bring other individuals, particularly paying individuals, along on missions of this type.
And I think many would agree. Bill Diamond, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.